Hi everyone and welcome to Momentum channel. We have a very unique video for you here today. As you may recall, myself and my twin brother, we've started this channel about a year ago, and we decided that we want to do a slightly different video. So I'll have him introduce this video series to you.
Yeah, thanks. Some of our subscribers and followers, in fact, have been asking us a couple of questions to get to know us better. So, what we thought would be interesting was to actually start a new series whereby every few weeks we'll be answering some of these questions. So, the first question, when did you start investing and why?
Awesome. That's a great question. For me, I started investing in the stock market back in 2017. And at the time, the thought process was I really wanted to supplement my savings and have a way to grow my assets and grow my wealth. I wasn't as familiar with the stock market investing at the time. I remember when I did get started, I was very conservative around I want to preserve my assets. I want to make sure that there's the least level of risk involved. But it's interesting how over time, and as I got more familiar with the stock market and how it works, my risk tolerance also evolved throughout the years. And I do see myself now as a more of an aggressive investor in a sense that my tolerance and understanding of the stock market is a lot better. So that's been definitely something that's been super crucial and important to me. The importance of educating myself and learning about it before diving into stock market right off the bat. How about yourself?
All right, I think I might be slightly more experienced when it comes to investing. In fact, I first started my official investing in July of 2010. And my first investment type was in foreign exchange market, also known as Forex. It's basically an over-the-counter market for trading currencies. While I wasn't very successful in Forex trading, I have to admit, but it was a great learning opportunity for me in that I learned a lot about the importance of trading without emotions, and that got me into reading a lot of books and basically trying to improve my knowledge and skill sets, especially when it comes to technical analysis. A couple of important lessons that I actually learned by going through that experience were: number one, never allow emotions to get into your investment decision making, and the second important lesson that I got from that experience was in terms of trying to gradually lock in the profit and not basically be greedy when it comes to taking profit from your investments, because you never know until when they are going to last. As for stock market investing, in fact, I first got into that back in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, I have been trading, across various exchanges over 4 different countries, including US and Australia. The reason why I started investing, obviously, it's because I believe stock market is one of the greatest wealth creation engines of all time. And over the long run, I believe no other types of investment could, in fact, beat the performance of stock market investing. So as for the next questions, I'm curious to know what are some of the best performing stocks in your portfolio, Mo, and what have you done with them?
Well, that's an excellent question. For me, I can think of 2 stocks that have been among my best performing stocks. The first one is one of my most recent purchases. As you know, during the recent pandemic, the stock market has been hit hard, at least for a couple of weeks. And one of the industries that was really hit hard was the discretionary spending. In particular, I'm thinking of the cruise lines. And so when the stocks started to bottom at the time, I did some research and got more interested in the cruise companies. And one of the ones that I purchased some shares of was the Royal Caribbean Cruise, ticker symbol RCL. So I actually, within a span of only a few weeks, managed to get a very good return on this stock. Got to a point where it was showing a return of about 122%, which is very solid, I would say, for only a span of around a month or 1.5 months. And what I did with it actually was kind of followed the lesson that you just shared. So I thought, let's not be greedy. It's been a remarkable return, and I think that the stock market has grown so much since the time it's bottom. So I thought, let's cash in and on this stock. So I actually ended up going and selling my shares yesterday and cashing the profit. So happy with that. The second stock that I wanted to mention, and the reason I didn't mention it first, is that this is more of a speculative stock. So my approach when it comes to the speculative stock is that I'm comfortable if I even lose money on it. So it's almost the money that I've put aside, and I'm comfortable if the stock goes to zero. I've made that kind of bet, and I'm comfortable. But that, of course, it doesn't mean that you have to blindly invest in that stock. But because I think the nature of this stock is a very small company. In fact, it's a Canadian company, but it's listed on a separate stock exchange. So it's not on the main stock exchange, like Toronto Stock Exchange, but rather on Canadian Securities Exchange, whereby the financial reporting elements are a little bit more loosely defined. So when you get to those type of companies, you have to have a little bit of tolerance for some ambiguity and perhaps knowing that the company might really have a lot of volatility. But long story short, this company is called Next Tech AR, which is for augmented reality solutions. So far, I have a return of 250%. So I got this company for a share of about 67 cents, and right now it's about $2.40 Canadian. And I have quite a decent number of shares of this company, almost 1,000 shares. So, which is why it's large enough number of quantity of shares that I'm rather stay with them, and knowing that of course I'm following their return, and they've been doing quite good. They're into a number of different fields in terms of e-commerce solutions for augmented reality industry, in terms of 3D ad, 3D product capture. They have plugins for Google, Facebook, Zoom, and different type of kind of video conferencing features that they are actually getting into as well. So I do see some very good potential for this company, but at the same time, I'm cautiously optimistic about them, wanting to make sure that I don't just ignore them, but at the same time, perhaps stomaching in some of those ups and downs of this company. So those are my two very kind of best performing stocks so far. How about you?
That is amazing, I have to admit. And when it comes to, I guess, speculation, a good point is that once you, invest in a stock by understanding the risks involved, the worst thing that is going to happen is that it's going to stop at the point of zero. It doesn't go into a negative zone. At least that's the good thing about it. And as long as you understand the risks involved, I guess you can make a better informed decision. As for me, when it comes to my best performing stock within my current portfolio, it belongs to NVIDIA. I have had positions in NVIDIA for less than 8 months now, and it has been posting a very decent return of around 130% so far, which I find it to be fascinating and great. The second best performing stock in my portfolio at the moment is Beyond Meat. And this is a company that I very much believe in its ethos and in the values that it pursues. In saying that, though, I'm yet to try one of the Beyond Meat burgers, and I can't wait to do that. But it has been a fantastic stock in my portfolio, again, posting a total return of more than 100% so far. So now let's start shifting gear a little bit and look into the other side of the spectrum in terms of the worst performing stocks. What has been the worst performing stock in your portfolio, Mo, and what have you done with it?
Well, that's a good question. Never an easy one to respond to, but let me get into it. To answer that question, my worst performing stock has been one that really taught me a good lesson. But before getting into it, let me share what the company was and how it came about. So the company is called Future Farm Technologies, ticker symbol FFT, and it is again in the secondary stock market for Canada, Canadian Securities Exchange. So a little bit of context about this company: they are in the business of cannabinoids, CBD, and derivatives of weed. So about 2 to 3 years ago, this sector was quite hot, and there were a lot of investors who wanted to get into this field. And I did do my share of investing in a number of different companies in there, but this one was particularly the one that I got hurt with the most. And the reason being is that I had no clue what this company is all about. Like even probably up to date, I have not much clue. I just only know what they probably do, and that's the limit of it. Never did any research on it. Just read an article, and I was an amateur investor at the time. This is back in 2017. We were just getting started, and you buy into the stock market hype, and there was an article talking about that this company has run up by about 100% or something within the span of one day, and you feel like, this is the time. Yeah, this is going up. This thing is going to go up. Problem was, I bought this share at about $1.70, and because it was so cheap, I think I got almost 2,000 shares of this company. I said, why not? Like, this is perfect. Well, it didn't end up well, because that poor thing gone down ever since. And so from $1.70, it's now down to, guess what, 4 cents. So pretty much the stock has been trashed. And so have I sold anything? What did I do with it? Well, I think this was my second mistake. So I kind of thought, no, I don't want to lose anything, so let's hold on to it. So I think I started selling only a couple of hundred shares when it was too late, since the beginning of the stock market investing for me. But if I compare now to the value of 4 cents per share, I did the right call at the time even. But it would have probably been better if I had sold everything, because first of all, I had not done research about the company. And ultimately, the lesson that I learned here was, after losing almost 98% of my investment in that stock, would have been, get to know the company that you're investing in. Don't get emotional. Stock market investing is not about being emotional and buying into the hype and following the trends. And just because one stock is hot, you got to buy into a company if you believe into it. If you think that the company has the fundamentals to invest in, and you believe in what they do, and you're familiar with that stock as well. So those are all the important tips that I learned the hard way. There have been other mistakes along the way, but I think as a stock market investor and someone who wants to stay there and really believe in the value of investing, you got to learn from those mistakes and hopefully not repeat them afterwards.
That's so true. And I think some of the very important points that you shared with us today is so timeless and relevant in the stock market. I think we are also starting to see some common themes emerging here, because as for me, my worst performing stock has also been in the cannabis sector. It actually belongs to a company called Canopy Growth. I'm glad that I really had a very small position in the company, only owning 3 shares, but it has been posting a growth of negative 60% so far. What I have done with it, well, again, I thought it's a very small position. It has been always a speculation for me, so I didn't dollar cost average on that, but I didn't even cut losses on it either. So I decided to just hold on to it, and if I lose that investment money because it's such a small position, I wouldn't really be concerned. But if it goes up, well, it goes up, and I would be happy. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. And feel free to share this video and other helpful ones with your friends and colleagues who might also benefit from this channel.
Thanks, everyone, and see you next time.